Thanks for attending. So let's start with dollar index. Dollar index is a tricky one. So we'll start on the monthly chart. Actually, the DXY gives more historical data than our own DXY. Good. So you can see we kind of have this head and shoulder pattern here. This is also the 618 retrace of the previous move. And now we're starting to break down. So I like this. I like this as a bearish bias. I think we're going to come down to at least hit 92. What happens at 92? I don't know. We could take off again, or we could break down. But this looks very bearish to me on the monthly chart. It looks like we had a very good rejection right at this level. This is a key level also. We had that initial breakdown, then we had the retrace, and now price is breaking down again. We are stalling. We're definitely stalling. There's a lot of support at this level. We have a key level here. We have an ascending trend line. We have the support from this channel right here. There's a lot of stuff keeping this up. We have the weekly EMA here. So we don't really have any confirmation yet, unfortunately. If you look at the intraday charts, we had this kind of faked me out when we had this break above the 4-hour EMA here, and then we immediately closed back below. This is indicating to me that buyers tried to get some sort of lift off here off of this huge support level, and it just immediately died out. And this definitely is signaling to me that this is going to continue bearish. I mean, it could form a higher low here and continue up, but to me, this is looking pretty bearish. I wouldn't want to take anything on it yet until we get a decent break of this level, because I think once this level breaks, it's going to be a huge sell-off. I bet there's a lot of stops sitting at this level for long positions, and as soon as that breaks, I think there's going to be a complete meltdown. But we'll have to wait. We'll have to get some confirmation. This could come back up and retest the top of this. It could break out. But overall, I'm bearish on it. I don't want to do anything until we get some sort of confirmation, though. Let's have a look at U.S. oil. U.S. oil monthly chart. You can see that we did have this somewhat inverse head and shoulder pattern here that led to this bullish breakout. And then we started getting this lower high, and price has started to break down now. We had this really good 2-month of deceleration, and this is a pretty good key level. It looks a little better on the weekly chart. But this is a pretty good level here. And we had the breakdown, we had the break and retest with this nice weekly high test candle followed by bearish engulfing. But we're sitting right on this trend line here, right on the weekly EMA. So it's a little tricky right now. The daily chart had that nice low test candle, and price just kind of went sideways yesterday. And there wasn't really much of anything on the intraday. It kind of just went sideways completely. So at this point, I'm kind of just sitting on the sidelines on this. I don't really, I feel once we get a break, our next stop is definitely 44, 43 and a half. But this could also take off to the upside. This is a lower high, and that's kind of signaling that this could go bearish, but at the same time, this is a higher low. and this is still a higher low. So it's kind of tricky. There's no real direction for me yet on this. So I'll definitely be sitting on the sidelines. Maybe we'll get a break Sunday or Monday, and we'll actually get some direction on this. But I'm neutral for right now. Let's take a look at gold. So gold monthly chart, we had this breakout of this descending channel here, and we had a breakout higher high relative to the previous lower high. So we do have a higher high, we do have a higher low now. Draw your fib. So it did break below the 618 a little bit. And we did have this hammer candle here that I thought would lead to a bearish breakdown, but we got a bullish run instead. So this is looking very bullish to me, just because we had this breakout higher high, and you can see that this whole move, this is still a higher low, and this could be considered a lower high, but this is a higher low. This is an absolute higher low on the monthly chart, and because of that, I still have a bullish bias, at least until we get to the previous highs here. It could double top, but I like this higher low. This is, and now we have a break above and a close above the monthly EMA. The weekly chart's a little bit trickier. So we do have this level here. It's a pretty decent level, and we kind of are forming a head and shoulder pattern. And this is where things get a little tricky for me, because is this a higher low, or is this a lower low and this is now a lower high, and now we have a bearish trend change? So right now it's a little confusing. This looks like a head and shoulder pattern, but was this the head and shoulder pattern previously? And it led to this breakdown, and now we're breaking back up above the neckline here, or is this kind of the neckline here? We had a slanted neckline from this head and shoulder, and now we're retesting the backside. It's kind of hard to tell. It's kind of hard to tell right now. I would definitely have a short bias, at least until we get to the 50. What happens here, it's kind of hard to tell. But you can see we got a little bit of support, and we've had some deceleration. So, I mean, it's in on the daily, we are in a bullish, definitely in a bullish trend. We are forming higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. This is potentially a higher low. This is, 3 days of deceleration, the inability to move any further down. So I could definitely see this start taking off. And if this takes off and breaks above this key level here, then I think it will continue higher for quite some time. But we're going to need some more confirmation. It'll be interesting to see how the market opens and see if we do get a bullish push off of this. So right now I'm kind of neutral on this. Let's take a look at Aussie Swiss. So Aussie Swiss is pretty straightforward on the monthly chart. You can see that we had this breakdown, and now we're retesting right in between the 50% and 618 retrace of this previous move down. We have the monthly EMA right there. It's rejecting this key level. We had this hammer candle that led to a bearish breakdown for this month. The weekly's a little trickier though. The weekly, you can kind of draw this trend line a bunch of different ways, and on some of them it looks like it's broken down, and some of them it looks like it's finding support. It's definitely not the easiest pair to draw a trend line on, but we're still forming higher highs and higher lows. So it's a little tricky to take a convincing short position on this at the moment. When you look at the daily chart, you can see that we did have this breakdown. We are in a bearish trend. We formed this lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So we're in a bearish trend on the daily chart. This is a really good key level here. It's kind of a zone, and I think any sort of pullback to this level would be a really decent shorting opportunity. You'd have to see a really good rejection just to make sure that this trend line here isn't really like this. It's kind of hard to tell. You can draw this so many ways. So this could be a break and a retest, or this could just be a bounce off. It's a little tricky, but if we get like a nice high test candle on this, I would be inclined to definitely take it short, but I would need to see some really good price action at this level. I'd need to definitely see that price isn't going to totally break above. And we have the 4 hour right here. This looks like a pretty good shorting opportunity, but we're going to need to see some good deceleration. One thing I noticed before market closed is that it looks like Aussie could potentially get really bullish on the week ahead. So this could potentially just completely break out to the upside. So a really good rejection here is imperative. But I have a short bias on it until we break above this key level here. If we break above this key level and form any sort of higher high relative to this, that would totally change my bias back to a long bias on this pair. But this is the catalyst. Let's have a look at Aussie Yen. So Aussie Yen monthly chart is one of the prettier monthly charts out there. We had this huge double top that caused this breakdown, and now we have a lower high rejecting the monthly. We had this nice high test candle that led to this bearish breakdown. So weekly chart's a little confusing because we did break out of this descending triangle here, and this could be considered a higher high, I guess, just because it closed a little higher compared to this like triple top here. And now we definitely decelerated at the 382 retrace. We ended up closing above the weekly. So this one's a little tricky. Let's look at the daily chart. Yeah, Scott. A lot of pairs are kind of tricky right now. They're kind of waiting to show their hand. So this looks very interesting. This looks like it's going to continue up and form a new higher high. We are now back above the 4 hour, and you can just see in the past just how well this 4 hour has been respected. This whole run up, it's kind of just been a bounce. So it's a pretty well respected EMA with this pair. And now that we've totally stalled on it, we kind of have a triple bottom on it. And now it looks like price could potentially go up. A long position on this, I don't know if I'd want to take a long position on this just because I can see some support here, and it's also, I mean, we did form this potential double bottom here, and now we have the daily coming in, and you can see that price was rejected already once right there. So trading into this wouldn't be the best thing to do in my opinion. If we get a clean break above and retest back down, I think that would really show its hand. That would show that the weekly is definitely changing. We are definitely going into a bull trend here. But at this point, it's a little too soon to tell. I want to see what happens once we get to this daily level here and make a decision there. It could come up and completely stall out and completely start tanking again. This could be a great shorting area. But it seems like a lot of pairs need to show their hand a little bit at the beginning of the week. Let's take a look at Aussie CAD. So AussieCAD monthly chart. This one isn't the prettiest pair out there, definitely. You can see that we have some key support at this level on the monthly chart. So now we're kind of stuck in this range here. And the really interesting thing is that we had this nice high test candle forming this double top, and we had this short little movement down, and it was immediately rejected. So many buyers came into the market here. So I'd be inclined to have a bullish bias on this. This shows that there was just no downside pressure, or it was very limited, and the buyers definitely pushed it back up, and now it's closed higher than it was last month. So the weekly chart, we're still stuck in this range, and we're still kind of stuck below this level here, and now we're almost forming like a triple top. We did have this nice bullish low test type candle rejecting the weekly last week, and that led to this nice bullish move up. Daily chart, you can see a nice break and retest of the daily EMA here, and immediate bullish price action after that. So this is telling me that this is definitely going to go bullish. What happens at this level is kind of a toss-up, but we do have this nice higher low here, and we have this nice break and retest after this double top, which is telling me this double top really isn't going to hold. I thought we would see a lot more bearish pressure, especially after this head and shoulder pattern that formed, and it was just immediately reversed. So there's a lot more buyers in this market. So I definitely have a bullish bias on AussieCAD. Let's look at the intraday. So the intraday is not too convincing yet. If we get a break above, form a new higher high, come back down, form a new higher low, retest this level, I think that'd be a great long opportunity. But we'll need to see some more development. We need to get that bullish confirmation before we try to take any long positions on this, because we still have the monthly double top to worry about here. But it's definitely looking bullish. Definitely looking bullish. Let's take a look at Aussie Kiwi. So Aussie Kiwi's an excellent pair. We've had some really nice bullish confirmation on this. You can see on the monthly. I guess you can't really see it too well on the monthly. Let's look at the weekly. So the weekly has this nice breakdown here, and then we had a breakout higher high relative to the previous higher low, and now we have this higher low here, which is also the 50% retracement, and we had this immediate bullish confirmation. I think this is one of the safest trades out there right now. I don't see this having any issue to come up and at least retest these previous highs here. It could potentially even break out higher. But I love that this is now essentially a daily trend change here. We have this nice confirmation higher high followed by a higher low, bullish confirmation. I think this thing's really going to take off. Intraday, we had this nice breakout. It kind of stalled, making this double top on the 4-hour chart, and we had this breakdown here, and now this could potentially be a higher low. I think this is the wrong chart, sorry. There we go, that's better. So the daily had this nice low test candle. 4-hour chart had this nice breakout higher high followed by this higher low indicating trend change, and price took off. We did end the day with a high test type candle. Oh, never mind, that's the 4-hour chart. So this just looks like profit taking to me. This looks like price tried to pull back and was immediately met with more buyers. And some people took profit at the end of the day and caused this little deceleration here. But I definitely see this going much higher into the next couple of weeks. I think this might be the next level. So a break and retest of this level, I think would be a great way to get long on this pair. This could come down. I was hoping for a scale in position around this level here, but I wasn't really paying attention. And I ended up closing my position out once I saw this 4-hour potential double top here, high test type candle. So I definitely want to get back in on this pair. I'll just need to see a really good pullback. If we could get a double bottom in this area and meet up with the 4-hour EMA here, I think that would be a fantastic long opportunity. But we'll kind of have to play it by ear and see how this is. But I love this pair. I'm a bull on this pair. It's something I will keep on the watch list for the week ahead. Let's take a look at Aussie dollar. So Aussie dollar monthly chart, as you can see, we've been stuck in this range for like a year, and last week ended with this hammer type candle. We had some bearish confirmation. Weekly chart, we formed this double top, and now we're trending down on the daily chart into a bearish trend. We kind of decelerated a little bit at the end of the day. Yesterday we got a deceleration doji type candle, and today we actually got a little bit of bullish momentum. This is technically sitting right at the 50% retracement. We are still below the daily EMA. There is a good, the 75 level is a fantastic level on this pair. So it'll be interesting to see what happens once we get to the 75 level. The 4-hour chart is pretty interesting. So the 4-hour chart, let's throw the 75 level in here. So the 4-hour chart's formed this triple bottom here. And this is kind of in line with my Aussie bullish bias on the rest of the pairs. This is definitely interesting that we formed a triple bottom, and now we're starting to get some sort of bullish momentum. We don't have anything to take a trade on, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, to see if we get a break above this 75 level and the H450 and potentially start trending to the upside. It's a little too soon to tell right now. It's definitely bearish. We are kind of sitting at the weekly EMA. We can close a little bit below it, but it's still not something that I would consider shorting just yet, just because this is a pretty good zone here. And we did have some deceleration, so I would need to see some really good price action indicating a short if I want to take this further down, especially with all the bullish momentum coming in. So it'll be interesting to see what happens on the dollar index, see if that ends up powering up or if it ends up falling. Because if it ends up falling, this thing could totally break out to the upside. But as of right now, once we get some direction, either break out of the blue zone or down below the blue zone, then at least I'll have a better bias on this pair. But as of right now, I'm kind of neutral until we get out of this blue zone. Let's take a look at CAD yen. So CAD yen monthly chart. So there isn't too much data on this one, but you can see that we did form a higher low. We did stall out a little bit down here at this 77 level, and then we formed a lower high, really nice price action rejecting the monthly, and we've had this really nice bearish breakdown. Weekly chart, so The weekly chart actually gapped up on this and then was immediately filled. And I thought we could potentially get some sort of bullish price action in this area, but price is just continuing to go to the downside on this pair. So now we're kind of below this level here. This is a pretty good level. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections here, and you can see that price has broken down, kind of retested it, and now it's kind of stalling. This one's a little tricky. This one's kind of with the rest of the yen pairs in that we're kind of sitting at this value area for a long position. But if I was going to go long on a yen pair, CAD definitely wouldn't be the one I'd want to pick, just because if oil falls, this thing could continue to tank to the downside. It has been falling for so long that I would like to see some sort of pullback on the daily. I would really like to see a potential lower high up in this area to get short. But at this point, I'm not really interested in this pair. It's kind of overrun. It's overextended. I don't like the idea of taking a long position on this just yet, just because the price action isn't there. So this one I'm kind of neutral on. I'll just sit on the sidelines. Let's have a look at CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss has this great monthly chart. So CAD Swiss has been in this range where it has not been able to break above this 75, 76 level. And the last couple of months formed these nice tweezer tops. It's almost like a triple tweezer top. And we had this nice hammer candle that led to this huge bearish breakdown. The weekly chart does not show any signs of slowing. We did have this nice lower high test candle that led to this huge bearish breakdown. We did start to get some deceleration. We had this almost inside bar inverted hammer candle that I thought would lead to some sort of deceleration as we were approaching these previous lows here. And now we did end the day with a high test type candle, but again, it's Friday, so it could be profit taking. We did have these nice tweezers on the 4-hour, so this could potentially have a bullish move to start the week. I don't really see anything worth taking on this yet. We do have a potential trend line here that if we get a breakout, I would need to see a pretty impressive breakout, meaning it broke this double top here, making a higher high up in this area, and potentially a higher low over here before I would even consider a long position on this. I would need a lot of confirmation just because the monthly chart is against you. The monthly chart has these huge tweezers here, this huge momentum to the downside. I don't really see the shorting opportunity in this right now, just because it's been so overrun to the downside. If we got some sort of maybe a retest of the 4-hour, I'd need to see some sort of pullback to value before I short this. I don't like taking these kind of shorting right here because there's not enough structure for me to really hide my stop up behind. I need something there, and it seems like we haven't really got much. So I'm kind of on the sidelines on CAD Swiss. Don't really see too much opportunity just yet. Let's take a look at Euro Aussie. So Euro Aussie's pretty interesting. So we do have this kind of double bottom here now. We had this inverted hammer candle that led to this huge bullish move to the upside. So we're sitting right at the monthly EMA now. The weekly chart, you can see that we were in this descending channel, and now price is kind of broken out. We did close above the weekly, but we failed to make a higher high. I would have loved to see a higher high to give more confirmation that this is going to go into a bullish trend. Right now, it's kind of a double top. What do you mean, Scott? As far as a right shoulder, like coming up and forming a shoulder here on the monthly chart. Gotcha. And that's a good level here. You can see that this has been pretty well respected area. Let's take a look at the daily chart. So the daily chart. So the daily charts are very interesting. You can see that we have kind of a zone right in this level here. This is kind of a zone where we've had some nice rejections, and now we have a potential double top. And we had a high test type, a bearish high test type candle yesterday that kind of led to this high test type candle for today. 4-hour chart's pretty interesting. I had this drawn on the 1 hour. I could see this as a potential short position if we get a nice breakdown, if we get an intraday trend change forming a lower low and potential lower high. I think it would be a pretty good short. At this point, I think I'd only want to take it to the 4-hour EMA just to play it safe for right now. If we get a nice break below the 4-hour, then a potential retest of it, and I would take an additional short. But because this is still a breakout, I mean, it is a double top, and this is some pretty good deceleration, but we are still at this zone here, and price could just decelerate in this zone and continue higher. So if I was going to take a short, it would have to be a really quick short position, targeting the 4-hour, and just leave it at that, and kind of let price dictate where it's going to go from there. Yeah, I mean, the elections could totally mess all of this up. But we gotta play the price action as it's showing its hand right now. So we'll do the best we can. And if the elections cause a whole bunch of volatility, we'll adapt and adjust and redo our analysis all over again. So Euro Aussie, I'm kind of bearish on at the moment until we either get a huge bullish move showing that this was just a fake out and a break and retest of this level, I would feel pretty okay taking a long position. But I definitely have a short bias for the beginning of the week. I never trade gaps ever. I don't have any experience with it. It's not something that I feel comfortable doing. It kind of scares me, to be honest. Let's take a look at EuroCAD. EuroCAD, you can see, had a huge breakout this month. You can also see that we're kind of stuck in this descending channel here. And we also have an ascending trend line here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this pair. This one's a little tricky. The Euro pairs are very tricky for me right now. This is great confirmation. This is great deceleration. This is a great higher low. I don't like how it failed to make a higher high. I don't like this huge rejection here. We are still above the monthly EMA. Let's get rid of these intraday levels. So the weekly chart is definitely, you can definitely see a breakout here. Again, this isn't the best in my opinion because we're still kind of decelerating at this level here. And you can see that there's been quite a few rejections. One, two, kind of had this triple top here, another rejection here. Now we have a potential rejection here. So this could be the first move, retrace, second move, and then we'll get a retrace down to here potentially. Or we could get a complete breakout, retest, and continue higher. But I like, this is a pretty good run here. You can see it's pretty much doubled that same move. So I can definitely see a retrace happening. Look at the intraday. The intraday has a nice double top, tweezers, 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart's still trending up a little bit. It's not really giving us too much. So we'll have to wait. If we get a nice breakdown, retest, that could potentially be something nice. With this, just because of where oil's at, if oil does not power up, this thing could just continue to the upside. So I think the safest play on this would be to wait for a break of this structure here, just so we get a confirmed lower low before we try shorting this pair. We could definitely, try to anticipate it if we get like a huge bearish engulfing. But I think this is the safer play. It's just to wait for the confirmation. These are great tweezers, but then again, this could just be profit taking before the weekend. So it'll be interesting to see how this ends up working out. But for the short term, I have a bearish bias on this until we break above this level here. Let's have a look at Euro Pound. Oh, Euro Pound. So Euro Pound's been very tricky. We did have this breakdown lower low on the monthly chart, and that proceeded to make a higher high, which is a little misleading. I guess it's still a lower high relative to this high here, but it's definitely something interesting. There was no this higher low that developed here had very little momentum to the downside, so we could see an actual trend change to the upside on this pair, at least in regards to the monthly chart. The weekly chart's been kind of slow to develop. It's been stuck in this triangle, this ascending or asymmetrical triangle here. And we finally had a bearish breakdown last week, and I thought we'd get a quick pullback and some immediate downside pressure, and it was just met with support, and price got pushed back up. We did end the week with a bearish engulfing, and we could definitely start breaking down. But until this level breaks, I don't think I'd really want to take a short position. I liked this short here. You took this, Scott, right? Are you still sitting on this? Did you cash this out? This was a pretty good short position. As long as you waited for the 5-minute confirmation, I think you got a really good trade on this one. I didn't catch it. I was asleep. It was on the watch list yesterday, though. Awesome. Very targeting these lows here. I think that's great trade. Really good trade. Yeah, hopefully it'll just smash through this level here, and you won't even have to worry about getting deceleration, and we can just continue holding it. But any sort of deceleration here, and I think I would be inclined to definitely take profit, just because this is such a good level. It's held price it's been support for a little over 6 months, 7 months now. So this is definitely a good target. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But this was a great short. This was a nice retest of the 4 hour, the 1 hour pivot. Just a lot of confluence in this zone. This level here. Great trade. Great trade. Let's take a look at Euro Yen. Euro Yen's been kind of tricky just because it came down and it formed this higher low. It's right around the 618, and we did get some bullish price action, but then it completely stalled, and it looks like we got another lower high. But now we had some bullish pressure. You can see that the month looks like it could end as a bullish low test type candle. The weekly chart is still not too convincing. I mean, we still haven't broke this area here. This caused a lot of deceleration. I mean, you can see that this has been a good zone for quite a few weeks, and now we're kind of just stalling out right here. I would really need to see a break above this level to have a long bias on this. If we get a break and retest, a new higher high followed by a new higher low, then I would definitely be inclined to take this. I like that we do have this gap up, and it, as soon as it hit the daily, it immediately rejected it and started breaking to the upside. But at this point, I still need to see more confirmation on this pair. I really need to see a little bit more. This could have been a potential inverted head and shoulder pattern had it come back down and retested these lows here, but this gap kind of threw everything off. Yeah, let's see your wedge. I'm waiting. All right, let's have a look, Scott. Ah, yes, I do recall you posting this. Are you still typing, Scott? I didn't want to move on if yours. Seems a bit extreme, but I see kind of patterns all the time, like Euro Aussie monthly head and shoulders and now breaking to the upside. Yeah, I mean, just because you see the pattern doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's going to play out every time. I mean, we can kind of make a pattern out of everything. We could say this was an inverted head and shoulder pattern, this being the head, and this being the shoulder here, and have this huge slanted neckline. You could make a head and shoulder pattern out of everything. It's just like trend lines. It's all kind of subjective. But this is definitely interesting. This is definitely looking like a higher low that could eventually lead to a higher high. I wouldn't want to trade into this level though. So if we get a break and retest of this, I think that would be pretty nice. But until then, I'm not too convinced yet. You might be thinking a little far out, just because that's on the monthly chart. So while it's good to plan ahead, don't plan too far ahead. But yeah, gonna need to see a little bit more on this one. Let's take a look at Euro Kiwi. The Euro pairs are kind of all the same, where we have these huge breakouts from the gapping last week. We are sitting right at the monthly EMA. The weekly chart. Let's get some levels in here real quick. The weekly chart looks pretty good, actually. You can see that we had this breakout, we have this confirmed higher low, and a huge bullish move. I don't know how much more momentum we'll get, though, just because it's kind of just like EuroCAD in that we had this nice move, we had this pullback, and now we have almost the exact same move to the upside. So this could be in need of a pullback, and this could potentially go short. I do like this is a higher high. You can see that these were the last two highs, and we've definitely broken above those and closed above those. So this is telling me that we are still in this nice bullish trend, and any sort of short position could potentially just be a pullback. So let's take a look at the intraday here. So the intraday is definitely decelerating at this level. We kind of have this trend line here. If we can get a breakdown again with these euro pairs the way they are, I would need to see a really nice break of this structure. If we can get a breakdown, lower low, come back up, retest the H1. That would be nice. But I definitely need to see a lower low on the intraday for all these euro pairs. I need really good confirmation before I try to short these, just because there's been so much bullish momentum. And the last thing I want to do is try to anticipate something and have it reverse on me. So I'll need very, very good deceleration. But these euro pairs are definitely interesting for shorts next week, at the beginning of next week. It'll be interesting to see if we get a pullback to possibly here, and the bullish momentum could continue. All right, let's have a look at euro dollar. Oh, euro dollar. So euro dollar, we have this triple bottom here on the monthly chart. Weekly chart, you can see that we've slowly been trending to the upside. We kind of formed this lower high, and then we got a higher low, and now we have a higher high, and then we got another higher low, and now we have another higher high. So we're definitely trending to the upside. Let's take a look at the daily chart. The daily chart has just been completely ugly. It did have it, it did have this breakout higher high. We are still definitely making higher highs and higher lows. Let's look at the intraday. So the intraday had that nice head and shoulder pattern, or potential head and shoulder pattern here that I thought would lead to a break to the downside. And this was on the watch list yesterday. And you can see that we did get this deceleration right here around the pivot area, and we just got no 5 minute break. We had no 5 minute confirmation to take this short, and price just exploded to the upside. So now we kind of have this triple top going on. Again, I would need to see a lot of confirmation to short this. I need to see a confirmed lower low. These are still higher lows relative to the previous lows here. And this is still, I wouldn't consider this a lower high just yet. It's still kind of a bigger double top, like a 4-hour double top. So I'd really need to see a confirmed lower low followed by a confirmed lower high before I try to take a short on this. I do like the range play. I do like that we got a ton of deceleration in this level. And you can see that this is pretty decent. There's so many key levels on euro dollar, it seems like. They're just everywhere. But this is nice deceleration, showing the inability to go much higher, but we still need a ton of confirmation on the intraday to take this short, in my opinion. I really need some good confirmation. All right, so we're halfway through. So let's take a little 5 minute break, and then we can come back and knock out the pound pairs and the rest of the dollar pairs. I start with fresh charts all the time, to be honest. Sometimes I'll just get bored and I'll change it from the white screen to the black screen, just so my eyes have to see price action all over again from a fresh view. I like to reset the charts quite frequently, to be honest, just so I have fresh eyes. I don't like having the same structure drawn in for too long, just because I don't want it to alter my bias, because I haven't looked at price action in a long time, and I'm just relying on old stuff. But I know everyone doesn't have the luxury to redo all 40 plus pairs every week. It's pretty time consuming. But I like going back and forth between the white and the black. I think it forces me to look at the charts a little different, just from a different perspective. And I like to redraw all my lines in from time to time, just to make sure that I'm keeping with a fresh perspective. I'm not relying on old lines or stuff that isn't too relevant anymore. But yeah, let's take a quick break, and we'll get started in like 5 or 7 minutes. Say what? Usually like 5 or 6 people. Usually Walker, Connor isn't kind of showing up anymore. Alright, I'm gonna try to blood through this. Alright, you guys ready to tackle the pound pairs? So, Pound Aussie monthly chart. You can see we had this nice retest of this level here. This is quite a substantial move to the downside. And after all this deceleration, we finally get a double bottom that led to this huge bullish breakout. I see the next upside target being this 177-ish level. And I think by the time that happens, the monthly should be pretty close. Weekly chart looks really good. Weekly chart has this well-defined triple bottom here, or a huge double bottom. And we got really nice candles every time. Nice inside bar, kind of low test type candle that led to this huge bullish move to the upside. And I mean, it ended the week very, very bullish. Let's look at the daily chart. So daily chart is kind of decelerating a bit. We did break out higher high though. This is what I was looking for when this was all happening. I wanted to see a breakout of this level here because this is indicating daily trend change. So we are definitely in a bullish trend on the daily chart now. We've finally made a higher high, and price could potentially pull back and form a higher low. It needs a good higher low, in my opinion. But when these pound pairs run, they certainly run. You can see that we started to get some deceleration towards the end of the day. Again, this could just be profit taking. But we did kind of get this double top, 4-hour high test type candle. 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart has this nice trend line. This trend line is actually really good on the 15-minute chart. I really like it on the 15-minute chart. I think you can see that it's got 4 really good rejections. I would consider it pretty reliable. And then we had this nice breakdown below. So you can see that we're starting to definitely pull back a little. I would definitely need to see a break of this structure here and a lower low before considering taking this short. And you can see that if we get a break of that structure here, it'll be a break and potentially a retest of the 1 hour EMA, and I think that would be a pretty good shorting opportunity. Again, this is a very, very bullish pair, so I would want to take really cautious short positions. I wouldn't want to play them too long. I think this would be a good level for a short. You could potentially take it a little bit lower, maybe down here, right where the 4 hour would come. But this has some good shorting potential at the beginning of the week. As long as we get some nice confirmation on the 1 hour chart, get a nice break of this structure here, I think this could be a really good shorting opportunity for the beginning of the week. Let's have a look at pound Swiss. So pound Swiss monthly chart, you can see that we've been stuck in this just choppiness, this just sideways action forever. It was this little asymmetrical triangle on the daily chart, and we finally broken out, finally broke into the upside. You can see there's kind of a level here, kind of where price is currently sitting. Let's look at the weekly chart. So the weekly chart, we're sitting right at the weekly EMA now. We're sitting right at this upside resistance here. Let's look at the daily chart. So the daily chart doesn't really have much deceleration at all. We did have this breakout, and we had this nice higher low here that's led to this big upside move. This is kind of the inverse of euro pound, and you can see that it looks like it has a lot of potential to the upside. There's definitely some sort of upside resistance in this area here, and price could potentially just keep going to the upside on that. 4 hour chart. 4 hour chart looks nice. It's definitely trending to the upside. We are forming higher highs, higher lows. We formed another higher high here. We definitely need a pullback. You can see this was a break and retest of intraday structure. So we got this nice break above, retest, and continue higher. I think there's still room to move on this pair. I mean, we are still sitting at this weekly level here with the weekly EMA. So I don't really like it too much just because we're at these current highs here. This could form a double top. Pound is looking a little bearish, just like it's in the need of a pullback. So I wouldn't really want to take this long at this point. We've already been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days into this bullish run. So I need to see a little more before taking a long position. Something really obvious has to show up on the intraday. I think this 4 hour break and retest might be the big move to the upside. And if you didn't catch that, I think that's where the value was, and it'd be kind of difficult to kind of tag on at this point. But we'll keep an eye on it and see if it leads to anything better. Let's look at pound yen. Pound yen's kind of the same way. Pound yen is the better of the pound pairs. You can see that this actually has a really nice confirmed, it's almost a double bottom and a huge breakout to the upside. Again, just like with most of the pound pairs, we're now sitting at the weekly EMA on most of them. Daily chart, again, daily chart is not really showing any signs of deceleration at all. But you can see that this is a key level here, and now we're sitting right there again. Yeah, I mean, as far as bullish positions on the yen goes, I think this has the upper hand. You can see that we've had nice confirmation. We are well above the daily EMA. The only thing I don't like is where price is currently sitting at, and that's kind of how it is with all the pound pairs. We're kind of sitting at some upside resistance, weekly resistance. Let's look at the intraday. The intraday is really showing no signs of slowing down. It did start to decelerate here, and then momentum stepped back in again. You can probably draw a massive trend line on this. We'll do something like that, or maybe something like that, just to keep an eye on it to see where it's going. But I don't want to take a long just yet, just because of the level we're sitting at. If we get a really nice breakout above, we get a nice breakout above these highs here, breakout, retest, then I could definitely take it up to this previous high here. But I don't want to take anything now. I definitely don't want to take a short position on this, as we don't have really any sort of deceleration. We have no indication of bearish trend change. So, like most of the pound pairs, we're kind of sitting on the sidelines for the first couple of days to see how they play out. Let's have a look at our pound kiwi. Pound kiwi's been an absolute monster as far as upside moves have been concerned. Pound kiwi is taking the cake on this one. This thing's just been exploding to the upside on the monthly chart. Weekly chart, you can see that there's some sort of resistance support in this level. This is quite a bit of rejections here. And you can see again that we're sitting right at that level. Price had no no slowing down during the weekly. It just blew completely through it. Let's look at the daily chart. So daily chart. This is kind of beautiful. You can see this huge bowl here, and these bowls indicate huge amounts of trend change. And I think this has an excellent opportunity. I I still think we need a higher low on this. I mean, as you can see, we even when price is extremely breaking down like it did during the whole Brexit scare, we still got these nice pullbacks that led to all these moves, and we've had this huge run up, and we've had no like really good pullback showing a higher low yet. So it'd be really nice to see that. I could see price going up a little bit higher and potentially decelerating here and maybe giving us a higher low, and we can take that and take that through as a breakout play. But at this point, I don't really want to add anything onto this, just because of the current level it's sitting at, and I really think it needs a higher low. Intraday, you can see there's been absolutely no signs of slowing down on this pair. It's just been completely moving to the upside. And the pound is usually really good with giving us these 4-hour false breaks or these APL trades. And you can see that there's just been too much momentum. There's no APLs, there's nothing. So unfortunately, if you didn't get in on this early and are just riding it, it's kind of hard to get in at this point. Let's go to pound dollar. Pound dollar monthly chart. So we've definitely formed a bottom on pound dollar. We can plug in our next upside. Something around there. Go to the weekly chart. Weekly chart has this very nice triple bottom. We had this nice breakout to the upside. Again, with all the pound pairs, we're sitting at the weekly here. We do have some sort of resistance here. Let's take a look at the daily chart. So daily chart technically is above. Hey Connor, glad you're able to make it. But it definitely looks like we have a confirmed break to the upside on. Oh, no worries. Glad you were able to make it. But we definitely have a nice breakout here. 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart has definitely, it broke above, it retested, and we got some nice bullish momentum. I think this 4-hour candle is just profit taking. We can go to the 1-hour chart. It potentially has this nice trend line here. So maybe a pullback to the trend line and a continuation further. What I like about this is there really is no signs of deceleration at all. And if there's no signs of deceleration like the other pound pairs, this might be indicating that US dollar could potentially be the catalyst to move this higher as some of the other pound pairs pull back, just because of US dollar weakness. Again, we have to see a lot of confirmation on the dollar index or the DXY. But I could definitely see that potentially causing this to move up, even though some of the pound pairs are retracing. But I still think there's a ton of upside potential on this. I think this is definitely the next stop, right around 134. So this is definitely something to keep on watch. See how it reacts. See if we start getting deceleration or what's going to happen. But I like that it chopped for so long, and then we finally got confirmation. So it would be interesting to see how this plays out at the beginning of the week. But I like that we finally closed above this level. It could be premature. We could form a high test, and maybe it could just be a false break. But as of right now, I have a bullish bias on it, just because there's no indication of price slowing down, really. Let's take a look at Kiwi CAD, or Pound CAD. Pound CAD has just been a monster. An absolute monster. So after this low test candle, this bottom here, we finally got a huge amount of momentum that came in. Weekly chart, you can see the weekly EMA just held no relevance. It just completely smashed above it. Let's draw our monthly level in here. So I think there's definitely potential for price to slow down a little bit in this area, just because there's been some deceleration there. We can look at the weekly chart, and you can see that it did form a double bottom there. Kind of draw like a zone in this level. But as you can see, the weekly chart shows no signs of slowing. We've had two massive bullish engulfings. You can look at the daily chart, and you can see that there's just no signs of slowing at all. This was the next level I was kind of worried about right here, and we completely blew through it. So I don't really see any upsides resistance until 81-ish. I'm not too worried about the monthly EMA right now. But this one's going to be tough. This one definitely needs a pullback if you plan on getting in this, because this thing's just been going up forever. Maybe price will finally break down a little bit and give us some sort of entry. It does look like it's decelerating a little bit. Again, this could be just low volume towards the end of the week. But I don't really see how to take advantage of a long position until it pulls back to this 75 level. I think if we get a pullback to 75, that would provide a lot of value. But we need a pullback. I definitely will not be chasing this where price currently is. I definitely don't want to short this pair. I mean, even if we get a nice breakdown on the 1 hour, I still don't want to take any counter trend trades on this pair just because this monthly momentum is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It just doesn't seem worth it to take the chance. Okay, let's look at Kiwi Yen. Poor Kiwi Yen. So Kiwi Yen has this monthly double top. It has this potential lower low here relative to this one. We have this nice lower high, which is also the 618 retracement. So this is the one that's potentially having the monthly trend change, where we have a lower low followed by a lower high, and price is just continuing to move to the downside. This was really interesting when we got this huge gap up, and as you can see, price immediately filled. There were a lot of sellers looking to sell this, which kind of tells me that this is definitely a monthly trend change, and this should have no problem at least getting down to this 72 level and retesting these lows here. I like how it was a retest of this kind of this weekly level, also the daily level. It wasn't something that I was too comfortable with just because of the gapping. I didn't want to take any risk here, but you can see that this was a pretty good level for price to gap up to and then immediately fall to the downside. 4-hour chart. So 4-hour chart kind of has this trend line here, and this could be a potential retest. I mean, you can draw this trend line in a million ways. I think this was the pair that I think everybody had their hand at drawing their own interpretation of a trend line on this pair, just because it was kind of hard to interpret. There was so much different perspectives on this one. But I like how it closed below the 4-hour. If you were looking for it, this could have been a potential APL here. And it actually would have been a quick 2%. I definitely didn't take this. But I was looking for the short the day previously, this one. I, however, fell asleep and lost interest once it started to make this bullish move. But I guess even if I had a static entry, it still would have been okay. But this was a really good trade once you got this confirmation here. Once you got that 5-minute break, price just did not pull back at all, just continued. It is kind of interesting that we still, after we had this huge bearish breakdown, we didn't have much follow through with it. But you can see that these previous lows here are holding a very, very good amount of resistance, as well as the 1 hour. So I don't see this breaking to the upside just because of all Kiwi has to get really strong or Yen has to get really weak in order for me to change my bias on this one. We might get a false break out to maybe retest the upside of this. Again, these trend lines are so much a matter of perspective, but it'll be interesting to see. This could just be low volume from the end of the day. But I like Kiwi and short. I think there's just so much downside potential on this pair. I don't like where price is currently at. We need to see something, maybe a nice break and retest of these lows here. Um, Maybe if we start the day with a nice 4-hour high test, rejecting both of these, I would be inclined to potentially take a short play on it. I expected a little more. This is making me hesitant to immediately go short. I like how this is definitely some sort of resistance here, but it didn't have any follow through, and I don't know if that's just because of low volume on Friday or what's going on. But this is making me hesitant to take it short immediately. Let's take a look at Kiwi Suisse. So as you can see, Kiwi Suisse is very bearish. Kiwi Suisse had this lower high right around the 618 level. And now we finally have some bearish confirmation on this pair. Let's get the weekly chart for a better idea of what's going on. So finding structure on KiwiCAD is a bit tough. There's as you can see, there's a lot of wicks on these pairs, and it's prone to gapping. There's a lot of gapping that takes place. Just you can see gapping everywhere on this. But I like this. This looks really, really nice. We had our nice breakdown. We had our first lower high and an immediate sell-off. So I am very bearish on this pair. Finding the next stop on this. I mean, I guess there's a potential level around here. We did have some deceleration, some rejections here, some rejections here, rejections there, rejections there. So this could potentially slow down a bit at this level. Let's look at the daily chart. So the daily chart immediately sold off. This was actually a really good trade that I missed, and I only saw it in hindsight, where we had this nice like quad top, huge quad top, excellent breakdown. We did have this, and this was kind of, I had a blue box on my other charts where this was just stuck in this consolidation zone. And it was just really ugly price action that was kind of just chopping sideways. It didn't interest me at all. But in putting this blue box here, it made me ignore this high test candle, rejecting the daily, rejecting this level. And as you can see, as soon as it has formed this high test candle, that's what caused the sell-off. So in hindsight, I should have paid a little more attention. I kind of let the blue box deter me from looking too in-depthly in this pair, and I kind of missed a good trade. Let's look at the 4-hour. So the 4-hour is pretty overextended. It's very overextended, actually. Trying to find some sort of structure. I would look for a pullback to the 4-hour, wherever that would be. Maybe this immediate low here in the 4-hour. Maybe we can get an APL if we do get some sort of pullback. Unfortunately, the train's kind of left the station on this one, and I think it's going to be pretty tough to get in unless we do start to decelerate. I guess we have kind of a zone in this level here. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Again, shorting after this huge move doesn't really seem like it provides much value. So this one's kind of on the back burner until we get some sort of indication of how to play this. Let's take a look at Kiwi CAD. So Kiwi CAD monthly chart, we are sitting at this long-term historical resistance. We had this nice high test candle, bearish engulfing, and it immediately got rejected. This pair's kind of back and forth a lot. Weekly chart's a little scary too. I mean, look at the amount of wicks on this pair, just on the weekly chart. It shows that there's a lot of like almost whipsaw on this. It's kind of a tougher pair to trade. Let's look at the daily chart. So as far as the daily is concerned, I see this as the last higher high. I see this as a breakdown lower low. I see this as a higher low or a lower high. And now we're still kind of sitting at these double bottom levels here. And now we had a breakout higher high. So we could have a potential trend change here. We did close below the daily. Let's take a look at the intraday and show what the intraday is showing. So the intraday isn't too convincing. We did have this, you can see we got a higher low right here. We do have a level right here. And we definitely have something going on here. So we're kind of stuck in the middle here, and we have this upside 4-hour resistance that's definitely been respected. So this could potentially be a higher low, right around the 50% 618 retracement, and it could potentially start moving to the upside. But this is a really tricky pair, and unless it's giving really good signals, it's kind of hard to take a trade on this. We did have an awesome trade on it the other day. Yeah, it is kind of week versus week. Exactly. So this was an excellent trade right here, in my opinion. I was looking for a pullback to this level, but I mean, as you can see, it was just bullish engulfing, and immediate sell-off. So there was no signs of deceleration. You kind of had to have an entry just waiting there. So this was definitely a tough one to catch. You would have to really been watching this and been on the 5-minute chart or something and caught the 5-minute break. But it was a very good trade. Just really hard to catch because there was pretty much no entry on it. But as of right now, it's not really doing much for me. It's stuck in kind of no man's land right here. Let's take a look at Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar is pretty nice. Kiwi dollar is very nice. Let's go to the monthly. So the monthly, you can see that we had this nice double top rejecting the monthly EMA, and it's definitely a lower high after this lower low, especially relative to all of these. So this is 100% monthly confirmation that this is definitely going to trend lower in my opinion. Weekly chart finally has a great. I mean, you can move this however you want. I still see it as a break though. I see it as nice confirmation, nice retest of the weekly and this key level at 70 cents, and huge bearish confirmation. Daily chart has just been moving, and unless you caught this rejection here, this was actually a really good rejection. It was the daily, the 4-hour. This had a nice APL if you were looking for the short after this like triple top here. This was a very good indication that price was just unable to move it any higher. I didn't catch this trade. I know a couple members got it, which was really cool. But I see this going for quite some time. Um, this was pretty decent pullback here, but again, you're sitting at some potential support here, right around this level. But now we've cleared it, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if we'll get a pullback on this, to be honest. It's just the way the weekly closed. That is a huge bearish engulfing. This thing could just run. So I'm definitely short bias on this, but catching this could be rather difficult unless we get a significant pullback to value, some sort of maybe a double top or at least a retest of the 4 hour. But at this point, this thing is so overrun that I wouldn't even attempt to chase it. Well, let's have a look at dollar CAD. So a dollar CAD finally has some sort of confirmation. We've broken out of this potential. This looked like a potential lower low on the daily chart. I thought this was going to lead to trend change, especially after this lower high. But then we got a higher low, and now we're forming a higher high. So it looks like the bullish momentum has picked up. I could see price going up. This seems like a pretty decent level here with resistance there, resistance there, resistance there. Weekly chart has a maybe this can break out a little bit more, come back and retest, and potentially give us a long entry. Let's take a look at the daily and the intraday on this. So this is a nice breakout higher high, finally. So any sort of higher low on this would be a great buying opportunity, in my opinion. 4 hour chart's not too great, not too great at all. This was a really nice low test, rejecting it. But I didn't like how choppy this has been. This has just been kind of going sideways for quite some time, and we had this like false breakout higher high that led to a lower low. So that kind of made me sit on my hands until we get a really good confirmation. I wanted a break of this level, and we finally got it. But then we started nearing the other daily highs, and I didn't really want to touch it then either. So we'll see what happens. Maybe we get some continued deceleration here. Let's look at the 1 hour chart. 1 hour chart doesn't really have the best structure on it. I don't think I'd want to short this pair anytime soon, just because we finally have some daily and weekly bullish confirmation, and I think that's going to continue. So any sort of pullback we can get, as long as it's to value, maybe we'll find some potential support in this area, right where this high was and this low was. Maybe we can get like a double bottom here, and maybe move to the upside. Maybe it'll coincide with this trend line here. So we'll see. I like dollar CAD for potential long position, but we definitely need a pullback to value before we can take anything. Yeah, it's really tough, Scott. At this point, we need a retest of this level, in my opinion. Now that we actually have the confirmation, like this was a nice higher low, but again, you're trading right into these previous highs, which was a no-go, and then we had that breakout, and then we're trading into the daily highs, which is a no-go. So this was tough. This was a really tough one to try to take advantage of. You'd have to really be confident and trade through all this upside resistance. Let's take a look at Dollar Suisse. Oh, Dollar Swiss monthly chart. Dollar Swiss has been on the back burner for quite a while for me. It just doesn't seem like there's been much of anything happening. Nothing that's interested me at all, to be honest. I'm kind of stuck in this sort of rising wedge or ascending triangle or whatever you want to call it. Weekly chart. So this one's kind of like dollar index in my opinion, and you can see that it's kind of doing the same thing. It's stalling out, forming this double top, and the weekly chart or the weekly EMA has just kind of been propping this up every single time. I don't see much on this at all. I think we're kind of stuck in this kind of nothingness. We have no direction, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'm not really interested in this at all. It's just like to me, it's just like trading the dollar index. It's too unknown right now. I can definitely see this could be a potential triple bottom. That might be the indication that the dollar might get stronger. Maybe this is the better indication than the dollar index. They are extremely similar in price action. But I definitely need more. This is kind of a mess right now for me. Let's look at dollar yen. So there we go. We got the monthly low test on dollar yen. So this one, for people that haven't seen it, we have this nice breakout retest. It's also the 318 or the 50% retracement, 50% retracement, and now we have this breakout and a nice retest with a monthly. Yeah, definitely have a long bias on this. I was liking a short a couple days ago, but with no confirmation. I mean, we had those nice daily tweezer tops that led to no momentum. So that's kind of showing that either the dollar's going to get strong or the yen's going to get weak, or this is definitely a nice potential. I mean, we still have. Actually, I think once the market opens on Monday, this will be a confirmed bullish low test here. So that's definitely indicating a long bias, definitely. So we do have some potential resistance here. You can see that it's been rejected quite a few times at this level, and that's kind of where we're sitting at now. Let's go to the daily chart on this. So with this daily just completely failing, I think that's a very, very good indication that this is going to potentially go to the upside. I would need to see a little more though. I would at least need to see a higher high relative to this. If we can get a higher high relative to this and potentially a pullback retesting the daily, I think that'd be a fantastic long potential. I'm sure you can draw some sort of trend line in here too. That'll probably, if you do get a breakout higher high, hopefully it'll break this and it just doesn't decelerate here and give a bearish signal. But it'd be nice to get a breakout higher high, potential retrace back to the backside of this, and the daily would be coming in. But I like that. I think that's a pretty good potential long position. This could potentially reverse on us, but at this point, with the monthly shaping up the way it is looking pretty bullish. 4-hour charts, I guess this is a cup and handle pattern. So a nice break and retest. We definitely need a break and retest. We definitely need some sort of confirmation that this is going to continue to the upside. But the monthly looks fantastic. The monthly looks really, really nice. I guess the weekly would be a bullish engulfing if you factored in the gapping here. But I need to see just a little more. Just a little more. Let's get some solid intraday trend change going. Because we still don't have a real nice higher high yet. Once we get a nice higher high, I will be convinced that this is going to continue to go. I mean, we had this nice triple top here, and if the price breaks this triple top and retests, that could be a pretty good indication that there are no sellers in this market. Let's take a look at Swiss yen real quick. Swiss yen looked pretty bullish last time I took a look at it. So Swiss yen's kind of showing the same thing. Now we have this low test candle right on the monthly EMA here. Right around the 50% retracement. Look at the weekly chart. If we closed above the weekly, which is a good sign, definitely a good sign. As you can see with most of these pairs though, we're sitting right at resistance on so many pairs. So we're gonna definitely need to sit on your hands the first couple of days just to make sure that we don't get faked out here, because we are definitely sitting at some resistance here. Let's take a look at here. That's euro yen again. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's a little tricky right now. I think Sunday, Monday could be a lot of just sitting on our hands and waiting to see what happens. But that's all I really got for this week. That's about it. I will do a short feature either tomorrow or later tonight. Most likely tomorrow. I will go over the exotic pairs. I'll do like a quick half-hour video on some of the exotic pairs. Yeah, pound South African rand. That one is, I think that's hands down my favorite pair. We can go over it real quick right now, just so everybody can see it. But I'll cover it more in depthly on the exotic one that I do. But Pound ZAR has fantastic higher time frames. So you can see on the monthly chart, we have this nice breakout, retest, perfect 618 retracement, very nice bullish low test type candle with bullish confirmation. Weekly chart, so we do have this level here that could potentially cause some deceleration, but I really like the weekly chart. I like the weekly chart because we had this bullish breakout and we had 2 weeks of these high test type candles rejecting this level here, and you can see that we got no confirmation after that. There was no bearish momentum at all, and you can see that price just immediately exploded to the upside. So this tells me that there are no sellers in this market at all. If you look at the daily chart, you can see we have this nice breakout, higher high, followed by a higher low. This is a huge daily trend change in the making here. Great candlesticks, great 382 retrace. It was just a really fantastic higher time frame chart. I see this going for quite some time, at least up to here. I really like this pair. Getting in on this is going to be kind of tricky. To tell you the truth, I'm regretting exiting this trade. I ended up getting out right when I saw this sort of deceleration here. Once I saw that it was forming a potential double top, I really did not want to hold through any sort of pullback on this, just because price had been running for quite some time. But you can see that there are no sellers in this market. It just completely took off again. So I will definitely be looking for any sort of pullback on this pair. I mean, we do have this nice potential top here. So maybe we get a higher low on the daily chart. I can actually get rid of this now. Maybe we can get a higher low on the daily chart. Maybe we can finally get a retest back down here. And I think that would be a fantastic long opportunity, all the way up to 1820, 1825. But I don't see anything in the way of this pair. I mean, the only thing you have to worry about is this monthly EMA, and I am not worried about it at all. You do have this potential weekly support here, but that's way up there. There's still so much. That's like 10,000 pips. There's so much room to move. I'm not, to tell you the truth, I'm not too worried about the weekly, just because this is a daily trend change in the making. You can draw this line here, and then you can drag this up, and you can see that it pretty much coincides with a move all the way back up to this next level here. So I love this trade. I love this pair. Love it, love it, love it. So now we just need to get a really good pullback to value somewhere. This could be it right here. This could be a potential. This would be really nice on the 4-hour chart if we can get. Maybe we can even get an APL out of this. But this is where I will be looking for a long position. I really, really love this pair. But yeah, that's all I got. I will do the exotic feature most likely tomorrow morning. And yeah, oops. Is there anything you guys want me to go over real quick? Or are you guys pretty good for right now? Cool. I will get this uploaded ASAP, and I'll probably do the exotic thing tomorrow morning. I'll probably do a my favorite monthly pound South African rand. I just don't see anything in the way on this. I really like Aussie Kiwi a lot also, but I think pound South African rand is my favorite, hands down. Exactly. Same thing with Aussie Kiwi, and I'm actually pretty frustrated with myself. I took a lot more trades than I'm used to, and I let that kind of overrun me a little bit as I felt too aggressive, and I thought I was taking on a bit too much. And I mean, they were all fantastic trades. I mean, I had absolutely no reason to close this position with this kind of daily confirmation. Same thing with Aussie Kiwi. So definitely need to improve my management a bit, and don't let a lot of good setups kind of interfere with my my management on some of these pairs. Yeah, exactly. Pound, jeez, pound. You could have just been holding for months. They have those great monthly charts. When we get those great monthly and weekly charts, we really need to try and take advantage of those. But enjoy the weekend. I'll post a link to. I'll probably do it as a webinar tomorrow if anybody wants to join. No worries if no one wants to, because it'll just be a 30-minute feature, if that, on a couple of the exotic pairs, just to see if there's anything cool worth mentioning. But you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you guys Monday.